Hey, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Sleeves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with Bonesy06.
I bet you thought I wasn't going to answer.
DanCavDragon.
Hey everyone.
Dizzy the Gamer Jit.
YouTube Mafia in the house.
And Guest Gamers Dad Level Podcast.
Mr. Anderson.
J-Chip Show.
Jonathan Coachman.
And MT Shark 7.
Hey guys.
As usual, first segment is Sleeve It or Leave It. The first game is Double Dare for the NES. Bones, would you sleeve it or leave it?
Ooh. Like the show, not the game, no.
Dan, sleeve it or leave it?
No, that would be enough for me for this game.
Dizzy.
I'm a 90s Nickelodeon kid, so yes, I will sleeve that.
Dad Level.
Yeah, I'll sleeve it.
J-Chip.
Nah, it doesn't look really appealing to me.
MT Shark.
If you're gonna double dare me to do it, I'll sleeve it.
I double dare you. Will you take the
Okay.
physical challenge?
Sure.
Next title, G.I.Joe, A Real American Hero. Bones.
I'm going to have to go with yeah. I know it looks pretty plain Jane, kind of, just because it's the G.I. Joe guys on the front, but I like G.I. Joe, so I'm going to go with yeah.
Dad Level.
And knowing is half the battle.
That
Totally
is
would. Totally would.
DanCavDragon.
Yeah, no, I don't have this game. I would love to have it, and I would definitely sleeve it if I did.
Dizzy.
Well, when everybody had Mortal Kombat toys in the 90s, I had G.I. Joes, so yes, I would sleeve it.
J-Chip.
Yeah, I would sleeve it.
MT Shark.
I would sleeve it. Isn't this game kind of rare? Is it? It might be another one I'm thinking of.
I think the Capcom one is more rare than this one. But this is the first
Okay.
one that they got released.
Next title, Little Nemo Dream Master. MT Shark.
I would sleeve it. This game's pretty fun.
J-Chip.
Yeah, I'd sleeve it. It's a Capcom game.
Dizzy.
Nah, I'm gonna, say I'd leave this one. I never really had much gameplay on this, so I'll leave it.
DanCav.
Yeah, fairly decent game. Capcom, as was mentioned. Yeah, for sure, I would sleeve it.
Dad Level.
Yeah, I would sleeve it.
Bones.
Well, I think I actually have it in box already, so I'm going to go with no.
Oh, you don't want to be like Dan and sleeve it and put it in your box?
No. The box is suffice for me.
Last title, Princess Tomato and the Salad Kingdom.
Ooh.
Bones, would you sleeve it?
Actually, it's a little more uncommon of a game, so I would sleeve it. I think this is one of John Riggs's favorite games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd sleeve it.
Dad Level.
Yeah, I'd sleeve it. I want to play it. I don't have it, but looks cool.
DanCavDragon.
Yeah, no, this is one of the more expensive games actually. I don't have it, but I wish I did. So I would definitely sleeve it.
Dizzy.
It's gonna sound kind of weird because I said no to the Little Nemo sleeve, but something about this one makes me want to sleeve it. Yeah.
J-Chip.
Hell no, this cover is kind of scary.
I was waiting for somebody to say that because it is a creepy looking cover.
It is very Veggie
You sure you don't want that 3D popped, you know? MC
Tomato
Shark.
coming out.
No, I'm good.
MC Shark.
Yeah, I would sleeve it.
All right, on to the next segment. Guess that box art. Anybody have a guess for the first image?
I do.
Go ahead.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
You got it.
Bam! I was gonna say
Yeah.
Robin Hood too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that too.
I guess I should scroll down to the next picture right away.
Yes.
That was quick.
That was
This is
quick.
great. I like it.
Oh, now this looks familiar too, but I can't think of the name.
Very familiar.
Oh man.
True Lies.
No.
Snatcher.
No.
Is it
No.
Duke Nukem,
No.
Gat
is it
NES.
Project Vice?
No and no.
Is it Rolling Thunder?
Yes, sir. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Man, it was stumping me too. I couldn't figure it out.
I know.
I've done a whole lot of tangent sleeves lately, so I had to put a tangent game in here. All
I
right.
couldn't tell you that. Last time I even looked at that cover.
All right, Bones.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
No, so I like that cover. It would make a 3D pop one. I think a good 3D pop sleeve. I think
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even remember what it looks like. That
It's like-
honest.
the guy was shooting and he's like holding a girl who's like passed out or something.
It's been a long
Yeah,
time
close,
since
close.
I looked at that one. All right, so we're gonna go on to the dust sleeve of the month, everybody. And this month's
Ooh.
is the YouTube Mafia.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. This is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a nice looking sleeve there.
Yeah.
That's
I wonder who
actually-
created that sleeve.
That is the first time I'm actually getting my eyes to don this beautiful sleeve. And
That one looks
it's got,
sweet.
is that the whole list on the back of who's in the mob?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, pretty much. YouTube Mafia is just like, it's not me, but it's kind of like a community. We're all growing here. Got a couple different high-ranking members right here with us, like Dad Level, J Chip, and pretty much it's just a way for the community to come together and support each other, help support each other. So the stuff on the back is pretty much explaining different ways how we can support each other, sharing our streams on Twitter, sharing our streams on Discord, different things like that. It's nothing serious. Like, whenever you see one of our streams, we'll probably, there'll be a number of different people throwing hashtag YTM or hashtag YouTube Mafia in the chat. And it's just a way for us to grow bigger as a community. The more members we get, the more people are able to share our streams and show us support. So it's pretty much just us all here, and a way for us to grow with each other. As long as I got 100 members, if you're in the YouTube Mafia with us, you got 100 members. And it pretty much came off of a couple different live streams. I think we started in Omega Ace's live stream, talking about how YouTube is helping the bigger YouTubers raid each other's channel, even though us smaller YouTubers, we've been raiding each other's streams for years. And YouTube's not going to help us smaller YouTubers grow, so we pretty much got to help each other. So if you order the dust sleeve, you read what's on the back, and it's able to give you a couple different tips on how to show each other support. So we're growing this thing big. J-Chip even made a YouTube Mafia Discord, so if anybody wants to be a part of the YouTube Mafia, just come in the Discord, and we can all support each other and help each other grow. So I thank you, Sleeve, thank you, Chris, for that dust sleeve, because it looks awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so buy our sleeve or else.
It's
That
not
is
that
a
you
nice
can't
sleeve, man.
refuse.
All right, so this sleeve is going to be done at cost. It's not like a typical YouTuber sleeve where you would pay a little bit more money. So there's no proceeds going to anybody on this sleeve. So you're just paying for the cost of the sleeve.
Yeah, so all the members can snatch that sleeve up, and again, read the back, and we show each other support, and we help each other grow together, and it's all positive. If you read the last thing on there, it pretty much says, it's nothing to be taken too seriously. You could be, average member who just throws hashtag YTM in the chat, or you could be a hardcore YouTube Mafia member. It's all up to you, and it's all about fun. So let's continue to grow together and have fun together.
All right, Dizzy. Give me a game that you would think would be great in the YouTube Mafia sleeve.
Just looking at the front, I'm gonna say Hogan's Alley, NES.
All right, Dan.
All right, so for franchise of the month, this podcast is going to be about the NES. If you haven't figured it out already by these previous segments, but for this franchise of the month, I put together what I thought are some of the most notable franchises that has its origins on the NES. That's kind of started on the NES. It really defined gaming on the NES, and it's spawned several games, and the franchise still exists today, and we think of it fondly. So that's just my top 10. So I'm curious to see from all of you. Do you agree with these? Are there any other games or any other franchises that you would put on your top 10 list that that really define the NES for you? So let's start at the top of the bones, and what would you put in your top 10 franchise list?
Well, I mean that's probably one of the best lists. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head that would be different at this current moment. I mean, I'm sure there's other games, but yeah, that's a pretty good amount of top tier Final Fantasy, Zelda. I mean, Mega Man. Even though Mega Man kind of fizzled out now. But yeah, I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head currently, and I'm not sitting in the game room, so
I think he's got basically almost all of them, right?
There are a few that I didn't put on here that I was like,
Yeah.
it was kind of tough call. But I was just seeing if there's if anybody can think of anything else that that should be on here. But how about you, Dad Level? Your top 10 NES franchises.
Well, most of this is good. I would take off Tecmo. I'm not a big sports person. But I would definitely the Metal Gear franchise. Technically didn't start here, but I mean, as far as here in the U.S., the first Metal Gear was on the NES. And I'm trying to think of other franchises because I mean, basically everything's covered on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not many to choose from other than these.
Well, I'll give you a couple that I thought of.
Batman too.
Yeah, Batman's always a good one. The Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest.
You see, what I'm thinking is more like franchises on the NES. Like, they were basically on the NES. They didn't go farther than that.
Yeah, I thought about that too. That's kind of hard. I was gonna have franchises that were specific to the NES that didn't go further. That's kind of hard.
Because Final Fantasy doesn't fit at all at that point.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, in general. Like, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, then the other one was like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, which was started on the NES and then kind of went. I mean, it was originally an arcade game, but I mean, most of us, our entry point was on the NES, and it's since gone to other consoles. But that was the other game I was thinking about. But anyways, Dizzy, how about yourself for NES franchises?
I'd say I actually like everything you got up there. You got the main ones. I'm gonna agree with Dad Level though, and say Tecmo Bowl. I'm not too sure about because with the franchises, I don't see Tecmo Bowl growing farther than maybe Super Nintendo. Like everything else on here, for the most part, got Nintendo 64 versions, Switch versions. Some of these even have PlayStation versions, Sony. But Tecmo Bowl didn't get too far. Ninja Gaiden might not have got that far either, but everything else looks perfect.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl. I mean, I think EA came along and killed it, killed you with
Yeah,
Madden.
pretty much.
But I mean, I knew a ton of people who played that was their game for the NES. That's why I felt like.
Well, with Ninja Gaiden, I mean, you had Ninja Gaiden Black 1 and 2, and then you had the Sigma series later on, and so I mean, there's been more Ninja Gaiden games.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl kind of fell though.
Yeah. How about you, J-Shep?
Personally, for me, I would kick Metroid out of this list because Metroid sucks dick. Replace it with Adventure Island.
I'm hurt.
Sorry, you replaced with what?
I would replace with either Adventure Island or maybe Star Tropics.
That's one, Adventure Island. I didn't think of that one.
I go with Star Tropics.
I thought about that too because that's a very specific NES franchise, but it only had two. What the and the sequel, right?
What, Star Tropics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Tropics.
Yeah, and then there's those.
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah, that's always on my list of like they need another sequel to that series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, but that would have been perfect for this, because it stopped at the NES. Like,
yeah.
If you this is the only reason why I'm thinking this is because this is what the podcast is about. It's a system podcast dedicated to the NES, and that's the only reason why I opened my mouth in the beginning was like, okay, they went way past the NES as a franchise.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess you could interpret it how you want to. But how about you, MT Shark?
I would keep everything except I would swap Techno Bowl with Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Everything else looks good.
Yeah, that's a tough call for me. I personally like Mike Tyson's Punch Out better. I just remember everybody in the day was really really Tech Bubble.
Nobody wants to show Techno Bowl any love, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I'd rather play electronic football.
I'd rather
and
go
you,
outside
Chris?
and play football.
I'll keep Techno Bowl in there.
Guys, I have the electronic football game that you plug in that vibrates.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
It vibrates and the piece of foam goes around on the board and they go, oh, is it going to touch the other piece? Yeah, I have one of them.
That was fun.
All right, thanks, guys. I mean, we're talking a lot more about NES and franchise on some of these games, I'm sure. So, so thanks.
All right. So, like I had mentioned already briefly, this podcast is going to be a system podcast, which Dan has come up with this idea of going through all the systems and having a podcast pretty much on every system. So this is the first of many to come. And we're going to obviously start out with a pretty big console. At least when it came out, it was revolutionary. And that's the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. And we have 10 questions to go through. So let's start. Question 1, your experience with the console. Have you played it? If so, when was the first time? Bones.
Gosh. All right. Well, yes. I have experience with that console. I have lots of experience of that console. I have a full collection of it.
My precious.
Could I tell you when I actually played it? Hell no. I was very young.
Can you remember the first game you played? Or that might be actually down the list.
I could definitely tell you the first game I played. It was the actual Mario Brothers on it.
Okay. Dad level?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very experienced with the NES. So, I mean, it was either Christmas of 86 or 87, I got it. My uncle took my dad over to Toys R Us and picked it up for my sister for Christmas. I think I got some G.I.Joe toy, but it ended up becoming my system. But yeah, the first game I played for it was Mario Brothers.
DanCav.
I got this system for my birthday when I was when it came out in I think 86 or 87. And yeah, I got it from KB Toy Store, I remember, and so I've had it from the beginning. This is definitely one of my favorite systems of all time, and then it's really what cemented gaming for me going forward. I mean, I had Atari experience. I started with the Atari, but it came and went, and video games crashed. And this game really brought everything video games back and for here to stay. So,
Dizzy.
So one of my favorite systems.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite systems. Yeah.
Dizzy.
I mean, definitely got experience with this one. I've mentioned this before, but this was not my first console. My first console was the Intellivision and the 2600 and 7800. But I was playing those consoles when everybody else was playing the NES. I got the NES maybe in like 94, 95. But once I got the NES, just like everyone else, the Atari and everything else went in the box into the attic, never got pulled out again. NES brought, it pretty much at the time was what we wanted gaming to be. Something close to the arcade, experience at the home. You could play co-op, two controllers, play with your family members. So, love the NES. My first game on the NES was actually a multi-cart that had Mario 1, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track on it. And I had the Zapper guns with it, so we played Duck Hunt all the time, Mario 1. At the time, as a kid, I never understood why I couldn't play World Class Track, but I later found out maybe 10 years ago is I didn't have the pad that you had to step on, but I had you don't even understand. Like, I tried to figure out so much with that cartridge. Like, why would this one not play? I thought you needed like an extra adapter to go into the cartridge to play it, but yeah, that was my experience with it.
And Jacob?
Well, obviously for me, like, when the system was at its prime, I wasn't around, so my experience was very, very late. I do remember the first time I actually played it was at a friend's house. He had me look through the basement to find a cable, and I just saw the machine, and it had Contra on it, and so I was like, hey, we should play that. And he was like, all right. So we hooked it up and we played Contra. We sucked at it because the game's hard, but it was still fun. And then later on down in life, I eventually got my own. Played it ever since.
And MT Shark.
Yeah, I played it. I think my first time I played it was when my uncle was babysitting me at the time. We went over one of his friend's house, and his friend's son had it. I was like, oh, what the heck is that? He was like, oh, it's a Nintendo. And I was playing Super Mario Brothers with him. That was a fun time.
All right, second question. Do you collect for this console? What percentage of your collection is made up the games for this console? Bones.
Well, I would have to say it's probably, I guess a good ballpark would be like 25% of my collection is got to be NES. Yeah, I'd say 25% of my collection is NES. So, yes, I do collect, but not really currently. I mean, I've got it to the point where I don't need to really look for any of them. I have all that I really want. I mean, besides a couple bells and whistles, like maybe an NES satellite or something like that. The Arkanoid box and controller I would like to get one day. I still have never bought one of the controllers, and I kind of kick myself in the ass now because that went up in price pretty good. Used to be able to get one for like $20. Yeah, that's not the fucking case anymore. I do miss collecting for it. So they aren't kidding, guys, when they say, once you finish something and you're like, yeah, it's to that point, you do move on to the next thing. So don't ever rush to get one done, I have to say. Really, that's pretty much it. I mean, I love to collect for it, but I pretty much have all I want for it.
And by all you want is the complete collection.
Yeah. Like I said, I know I said it in a bunch of podcasts. Yeah. I've owned everything I need. The only thing I'm missing is that damn stadium events, and I will not pay that money.
Repo all the way. All right, dad level.
So I do collect for it. I don't actively collect for it. It's like, whenever my buddy who owns a toy store, gets some in from a trade or whatever, he'll go, hey, do you have these? And then I just pick them up from them. But I'd say like maybe 30% of my collection is NES games.
DanCav.
But
Okay.
no, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. DanCav.
Yeah, no, I mean, I by no means have a complete collection of NES. I probably have like 300 or so games. So there's still quite a few I don't have, and so I'm actively collecting. I try to pick up whenever I see something for a reasonable price. I collect for a lot of consoles. In grand scheme of things, my NES collection isn't that huge, so it's probably going like 10% of what I collect, 10-20%. But yeah, I still actively collect for this for sure.
Dizzy.
Definitely collect for the console when I can. You never really see cartridges at any thrift stores or anything, even garage sales anymore. So there was a time when I was buying games off of eBay, but I think right now where I'm at is I have the main games that I want to play. But they're probably 10% of my gaming collection, NES cartridges, only because um for the most part I try to keep around 30 games for each console, and to me that's a good set, and I probably have maybe 40 games for that console. Plus I have a couple NES cards that are like multi-cards with like 300 games on them, or maybe like 50 games on them. So I got all the games I really want to play. So unless I see it somewhere at a thrift or something, I won't go out of my way to try to keep buying NES cards. But I do collect for the console.
J-Chip.
I do collect for the console. It's a really fun console to collect for, and most of the games I get right now are from Video Games Monthly. But whenever I'm at like the game store and I see like a cool looking character on the cover, and if it's cheap enough, I'll definitely pick it up.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I collect for this console, and I just looked up Game Eye. Apparently, my collection consists of 10% is made up of NES games, which I thought was more, but I don't know. According to Game Eye, it's 10%. And yeah, I still collect for it. I'm still going for a complete Tengen set and other random games that I've saw YouTubers do reviews on that I thought were interesting.
Okay, next question. Number 3. Impact of the console on video game history. Dan, start with you.
Yeah, I mean, just being about a franchise of the month, I think definitely. I mean, Mario Brothers is all you need to. Super Mario Brothers is all you need to say. And I think this has definitely had a tremendous impact on history. I think I said it earlier that I was with the Atari and I saw everything die off, and then since this system came on the scene, video games are here to stay. So definitely, I think video game in general owe a lot to this console for making it popular and getting a lot of people into games.
Bones.
Well, it's definitely always going to be known as the console that was the true stepping stone into the video game history. Like, yes, we had consoles before that, but the Nintendo led the way by literally everybody wanted a fucking Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, as far as how much is it for the history, it's like Dan said, it's insane. It's got Mario, it's got the Zeldas, it's got so much, dude. It'll never be forgotten. Let's just put it that way. That's how much it means to video game history.
Dizzy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is the console that saved games from the video game crash of 1983. So it has the biggest impact on video games because it's still going on today. I mean, Nintendo has gotten so far that now they have their competition on their console. Like, they have the Sega games on the Nintendo Switch right now. They have Sonic games on the Nintendo. Like, that was never heard of back then. We never would have even imagined that, but that's how huge Nintendo is right now. So it has a huge impact on the video game history, and it's still going on today. I think even my daughter started her retro gaming with playing Nintendo games like Mario, so it's still alive to this day. I mean, we're still playing the console, so definitely huge impact.
That level.
So being someone that actually, was at the age when the console came out, it really kind of changed everything. I mean, for me, I played arcades all the time, and then it wasn't until like we went over to people's houses who had Ataris. We didn't have one at home, but like for the NES, it was like, it's like all I wanted to do, and you could just see how the world couldn't understand how the gaming boom just took off because the NES. And it was funny, like, how much the NES impacted, like, just our culture. When you would be in school back in, like, 98 and stuff, and you're playing on the PlayStation, and your teacher's all like, hey, stop playing your Nintendo games and do your homework. And it's like, hey, lady, I don't have a Nintendo. I have a PlayStation. That's all because of Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to continue to impact the NES itself, just because as the population grows and people want the demand of video games, they're gonna, and I see it now because being a parent with my child, I try to get him into these games and everything, and it's like he doesn't want to do that. He wants to play something on his tablet, and it's hard trying to navigate a kid away from the things that are being like flashy lights. Look at this. This is better than what your parents played. So I don't know if the NES will stand a test of time in the memories and hearts of us who were there at the time, or the generations a couple after us. To a certain point, will have those memories, but I wonder about like my son's kids. How much of the NES is going to impact them.
Empty Shark.
Yeah, I think it had a huge impact on the video game market, especially since it basically revived it after the video game crash of 1983.
J-Chip.
I mean, yeah, this console definitely had a huge impact. I mean, we're sitting on a podcast talking about it, so
Yeah.
it definitely had a huge impact. And I see memorabilia all over the place, like in Walmart and Target, of like t-shirts with the NES controller or something Mario related, or I even seen t-shirts of the Konami code at Walmart, and it definitely has a big, huge impact in pop culture, and who knows if it's going to stay that way. But yeah, it definitely had a huge impact on just gaming in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that we're still playing Nintendo Switch today shows you that it pretty much.
Yeah, but you're not playing the NES. You're playing the Switch. It's a Nintendo brand that will never go away. But the NES is what we're talking about. The NES, I have a feeling, like Dad Level said, it's eventually gonna fizzle. There's gonna be a breaking point where it's like, okay, I can give you another example like Dad Level did. My kid, I have 2 kids. Neither one of them want to touch the NES. So where's that gonna go later? If my kids right now don't want to touch the NES, the next generation is probably not going to want to touch the NES. Is Nintendo revolutionary? Of course. Nintendo brand will probably never go anywhere. It will probably keep going, just like all the other big brands. But the NES as the system itself will eventually just fizzle away. Just like, for example, the Atari. You don't hear too much people say, oh yeah, I'm playing the Atari. Just, they don't do that. Unless they have nostalgia for it. That's
when it's getting easier to emulate this stuff too, so.
I mean, yeah, that too, but like, how many of your kids are emulating Atari 2600 games?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. they rather, like you said, be on a tablet, be on their phone, easy access. You could carry it everywhere. Yeah, you can do that with a Switch, but again, now you're talking about a Switch, a Nintendo branded product. Okay, on to the next question.
For this
did
one,
you have something to say? Go ahead, Dan.
No, so for the next question, current state of collecting for this console, I kind of meant for the like if you were a collector and you wanted to start collecting for the system, what are you looking at? Is it going to be hard or easy? So that's kind of what I was getting at. So just to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like you were saying, number 4, current state of collecting for this console. Go ahead, Dan. You might as well just finish it off.
Okay, yeah. So I think it'll be difficult because some of the good games are really this console has become quite collectible. So as Bones was saying, some of the games are ridiculously priced, and you'll never get them unless you go to some other means. But there's so many games for this console, and especially the more popular ones, are more widely produced, so it is easy to get your hands on a system and some of these games. So I definitely think it's highly collectible. It's easy to collect for, but it just going for a complete set will be really difficult because a lot of nostalgia and a lot of because it's old. I do think this led to a lot of inflation and rarity and so collecting could be difficult for this at times, but in general, it's still pretty accessible.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I think later on down the road it'll be harder to collect for, especially with how I think mainly because of the pandemic spiked all the collecting for video games. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, I suppose, but yeah, I think down the road it's definitely going to be harder to collect for.
Chip.
I mean, it might be harder down the road to collect for, but I mean, I'd say like if you want to start off with like the NES, I think if you're lucky enough, you might be able to get a couple decent games in the top 10 that were showed. But there's still some decent, cheap filler kind of games out there. Like Narc's not that bad of a game. I got a Blazers Blob for a few dollars. That game's pretty good, but I don't know if I just got lucky with that one. But yeah, I mean, NES games are pretty much everywhere. Like you can go to any pawn store, and you'll probably see a decent stack of NES games.
Dizzy.
I'd say if you were trying to start collecting on this console at the time where we're at right now, it's going to be pretty hard. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't even see these cards at thrift stores or garage sales anymore. Like if people have them, they pretty much know what they have and they know that they can get good money for the game. So they're not going to really want to sell them for just a couple bucks like we used to get back in the day.
Well, that's because the internet is here.
Exactly. So they look up the prices. As soon as they look at the cartridge, they look up the price. They give you the highest price they see. So it's going to be pretty hard. But I've said it before. The way to collect for this console is to buy NES lots. Go on eBay, look for NES lots. Sometimes you'll find a lot for, maybe a fraction of the price of one of the games by themselves. So if you want to start on this console, go for the lots.
That level.
I agree with every point here. It's the prices for NES games and let alone other systems right now are just through the roof. It's getting expensive to become a game collector or just even a game player for that matter. Because I mean, you can't even get PS5s right now. But the best thing to do, of course, is buy lots or reach out if you're working at a company. Just talk to people. You never know. They may, hey, I just found this box of NES games. Well, they may give it to you, or they may, sell it to you. You never know. Just make connections. Communicate with people. That's the best way I can tell you to try to find things. Be active in the communities. Be active in the between Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. There's people out there that'll do deals with you because there's actually good people out there that want to spread the love of these games for people, so they can enjoy them versus like the guys out there that are like scalpers that just want to continue to make a buck.
And Bones.
Well, really what I feel is it's just like everybody else said. It's the same deal. It's a tough one to collect for. All complete console collecting is expensive, Dan. You know that as well as I do.
Yep.
That shit's just insane. No console is cheap to collect for anymore. The 64 got stupid. The 32X complete in box is stupid. Like, they all went dumb high. So to collect full sets is really dumb. But you can see, the thing is, you can always still get for every single console. There's going to be a bunch of games that are going to be dirt cheap. The NES has them. Super Nintendo has them. The thing is, that dollar market has gotten a little more expensive. So that's why I feel it still is going to be a little bit harder to collect for another generation going into it, especially because of the age that we're all at. More than likely, once we're all long gone, nobody's going to give two shits about the NES like the way we do, because they aren't going to have that launch nostalgia of that console.
All right. Next question. Number 5, the games. So we're going to be talking about the games on this particular console. This console is best known for which type of games? Bones.
I'd say platforming, probably, because of Mario's and Contra, and I remember, like I said, Star Tropics was another real fun one. I would probably say platforming with maybe shooting. It's really tough to say, because if you think about it, it was the first console that was like really big, so everything on there was a best known game. Like Dan's franchise of the month, that right there, where it's all those different games, you put those in there, that's what the console is known for. There's going to be sports games, there's going to be puzzle games, because they were the first ones out.
That level.
Platformers, of course, run and guns, shooters. That's then everything else Bone said.
Right. Dan.
Oh yeah, definitely platformers. When I think of this console, I think of Mario. So I think, and then we use the term today, Metroidvania, to describe a lot of those type of games, and that's two games like the NES is known for. So definitely side-scrolling platform type games.
Dizzy.
Yeah, same side scrollers, platformers. You got Castlevania, Contra. Mario had 3 different games on the NES. So yeah, platformers definitely.
J-Chip.
Yeah, definitely platformers. Maybe adventure games with like Zelda, and maybe some RPGs like Final Fantasy, but mainly it's going to be the platformers.
MT Shark.
Yeah, I would say platformers as well.
Okay, number 6. Again, we're talking the games. Name some classic titles for the console. Dizzy.
For me, it's gonna be one that not a lot of people know about. My favorite is gonna be Mystery Quest for NES. It's not a hard game. It's not the best game, but it's a game that not a lot of people know about. But I grew up with that game in one of my 6 cartridges I had, so that's one, Mystery Quest.
Dan.
Yeah, aside for the franchise of the month, I think we talked about it earlier, but yeah, Mike Tyson's Punch Out's another one that is, I think, is definitely classic. Oh, I like RC Pro-Am. That's another. That's another classic title for me for this console.
Dad level.
Blaster Master and Gradius.
Bones.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Thunder and Lightning. and Fire and Ice.
J-Chip.
My favorite NES game of all time is The Boy and His Blob. I just love how charming and funny that game is.
And NC Shark.
I would say Dragon Spirit and Demon Sword.
All right, number 7. Again with the games. Name some games to avoid. We'll start with MT Shark.
This is gonna get me in trouble.
I don't know. I would say probably the sports games, like mainly because you need usually like 2 players to sort of enjoy them.
All right. Since J-Chip opened his mouth, you're next.
Oh no. Well, obviously, Metroid.
Oh,
Maybe one day we'll have a podcast in our unpopular opinions, but I hate Metroid. But some other games that I don't like on the system, Barbie, 10-Yard Fight is pretty dumb. Contra Force is pretty dumb. Silent Service is kind of boring. I would avoid that, and you see that everywhere.
Okay. Dizzy.
Oh man, I'd say the one game that I still can't figure out to this day, 30 something years later, is Knight Rider NES. I didn't understand it as a kid, and I'm still probably not going to get past the first level.
Dan.
for me, one of the most disappointing games was a game called Deadly Towers. Like that looked so promising on the box and in the description, and then when I actually played it, it was so unplayable. It was really hard.
It sucks.
Yeah, that's one of the worst games I've ever played in the system. But another game, surprisingly, that I would avoid is the ones that use Rob the robot, because they're not very fun. I mean, they're complicated. The hardware. I mean, Rob's cool, but you don't really need this robot to help you play this game. So we would always just use the controller and cheat without the robot and stuff to play the game. So I would try to avoid those games. They're nice in concept, but not very fun to play, in my opinion.
That level.
I'm really trying to rack my brain on a game that I didn't like on the NES, but I mean Top Gun, I guess, because you just can't land the plane. I mean, that was one of the hard ones I had. I'm not just saying that because video game nerd, but yeah, that was one I had problems with.
Bones.
Well, you damn well know I'm going to say Ghostbusters.
Oh, jeez, I forgot about that one.
That game can go to hell. Right off the top of my head, I can name another one, which AVG ended that as well. It's Conan. That one sucks. That game annoyed the ever-living shit out of me. Bigfoot's another shit game. Your fucking vehicle always breaks and burns up. But let's see, what other ones did I throw in that suck balls? There's a bunch of them that really do suck on there. That you feel like you're getting nowhere in. I think Knight Rider was garbage. Gilligan's Island was not very fun. The ones that did surprise me were the ones I named up top, where Thunder and Lightning and Fire and Ice are just like puzzle games where you bounce a ball and shit around. Those were actually fun. But yeah,
5 versus 5.
There's more, don't worry. There's definitely more.
All right. Next question. Number 8. Any memorable hardware or peripherals for this console? Bones, you're the peripheral guy.
Well, I'm just gonna have to go with the light gun, really. I mean,
Oh yeah.
that's the main thing that was used on that console. That was the most memorable thing. I mean, yeah, I had the Power Glove as a kid. Yeah, it sucked back then. It still sucks today. The wireless controllers, I mean, you really can't go with that. I mean, we've had so many better wireless controllers that have made more of an impression on me than the ones that were out on the NES. U-Force sucked. I'm going to go with the light gun, really.
Okay. Dad level.
The NES Advantage,
DanCav.
because I was a
Oh, go ahead.
arcade. Just because I like arcades, so
Right,
it was
right.
easy to use that.
Dan.
Yeah, there's already two good answers. The light gun definitely I agree with because like that was when I first bought that system and it came with the gun. I was just like, wow, I can't believe I'm playing this at home. You know, a light gun game at home on my TV. So that was definitely a good one. And then I give them credit for they had that what 4-score adapter thing, whatever that you play football and stuff for 4 people. That was kind of novel at the time, taking a 2-player system and adding more players and stuff. So
Dizzy.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. The NES Advantage and the NES 4-score. I mean, I still remember back my first time seeing those. I went over to a friend's house. They had the NES Advantage plugged into the 4-score, and they were playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I sucked at that game as a kid. But when they played it with the Advantage, like they had the advantage. They played it a lot more smoother and got farther than I ever would have.
J-Chip.
So I don't have this thing, but for me personally, the Miracle Piano is really appealing to me. I mean, just the fact that the console has a goddamn piano is fucking badass. What the hell do the PS5 and Xbox One have? Nothing. They don't have a piano.
MC
The
Shark. Go ahead.
PS3 did.
The PS3 did. All right, MT Shark.
I would go with the Zapper. I remember the first time I used it, you were able to shoot the ducks. I thought that was like so revolutionary. I was like, oh my god, you can shoot things on your TV and they actually respond.
But you couldn't shoot the
Definitely.
dog.
Yeah.
I
And
can't
then,
believe nobody has said the running pad. I thought for sure somebody was going to say the pad.
Nobody said the pad.
No, we got the Miracle Piano out of J, which came out of left field.
Yeah.
But Dizzy did bring up the pad in this conversation at some point in time.
Yeah,
The pad
That
was
cartridge.
talked about. All right.
I never knew about it. Yeah, I always thought you had to. As a kid, I thought you had to open up the NES cart and add something in there to be able to play that world class track. Knew nothing about the pad.
All right. Next question, number 9. If you want to check out this console without the actual hardware and games, what are the best alternatives? Dan.
there's a lot. I mean, definitely the NES Classic console. When people are hacking now to add every single game, I think that's probably your best bet because it looks similar, smaller, takes up less space, and can connect directly to your modern TV. So that's probably the best alternative. Other than that, I would say like a Raspberry Pi or something that you can load all the games on, and play a bunch of, as long with a bunch of other systems.
Bones.
Oh, the fuck am I know? I don't own any of the mini consoles or anything like that. I go for the original shit. That's just what I do.
All right, you stop there. Dad level.
NES Mini, because you could put every game on there.
Dizzy.
I definitely would say the same thing as the Raspberry Pi, but I would also say the Nintendo Switch. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get the younger generation or kids to be able to play those old school games.
J-Chip.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the Nintendo Switch online thing, assuming you have that. It's got a decent amount of games on there. Not every game's good, but for what you get a good amount of games.
And MC Shark.
I would say the PlayStation Classic with RetroArch side loaded.
There you go.
Yeah, that works.
All right, and the last one.
Last one's for you, Chris.
Yes, it
Only you.
is. It's for me.
Only you.
It says, let's get Chris's thoughts, since this is coming from Dan. Let's get Chris's thoughts about sleeving games for this console. Are they easy, enjoyable, popular sellers? Do they have nice box art? And give an example of the best sleeve that I've done, if possible. So are they easy? Compared to some of the other sleeves, this one's a little bit more tedious because it has that angle cut. So they're not the easiest. Let's put it that way. Are they enjoyable to do? They're just like every other sleeve, really. I mean, if I didn't enjoy doing this, I wouldn't do it at all, right? Are they popular sellers? Yes. NES sleeves bring out the nostalgic people. When you think NES, you usually think about the sleeve because eventually you're gonna have to put that into a sleeve. At least most people would. So popular sellers for sure. Out of all the sleeves that I sell, NES has it topped off by far, and that includes, you got to go with the logo sleeves too, and just say 97% of the logo sleeves I make are all on the NES. Does Nintendo have nice box art? It varies because you can have some really shitty box art. But for the most part, if you compare it to like something like, or let me compare it to like the Atari. Yeah, by far, Nintendo has a better box art than Atari does. But Atari is more standardized. They use actual kind of like hand-drawn art on their stuff. Whereas you can tell NES is a lot of digital drawing. Whereas, well, I mean, not all of them are, but there is a lot of digital drawing on some of these boxes. And can I give my best example if possible? I would have to go with, and it's not exactly a NES style sleeve. It's more of a NES box art sleeve that I did. That's 3D, and that's the Ninja Turtles 3D sleeve that I did a while ago.
Yes.
That's probably my best example that I've ever done for an NES sleeve. And
I was gonna say that too. That one you did for Iowa Retro Gaming,
yes,
Dad. That
Iowa's the
Ninja
one.
Turtle custom.
Iowa is the one that got that. I actually did more than 3D pop it. I changed their mask because if you know the original for Nintendo, all the turtles were wearing red masks.
Yep.
I changed them out, gave them the right color, and then I popped it out, and it's the size of the box, not just.
Actually,
Go ahead.
their real color is red.
Well, I mean, if you want to be technical, follow the comics,
Yeah.
or the storyline, yeah. But for the NES, I guess they did it right. But going by what he wanted, Iowa, he wanted the mask change. So
I think he even changed the skin tones on them. Gave them all separate color green. That was pretty cool to me.
I just had to do that. Sorry.
I know. Don't worry. I knew you were going. I knew somebody was. I was just waiting for it.
Well, that's what I thought looked so cool about it, was that you changed it to make it look like the cartoon, where each turtle had their color from the cartoon and their skin tone, like different shades of green. And that, to me, like, man, that was so cool.
Chris, can you show that image when you do the podcast, when you put it together?
Oh,
yeah, that'd be cool to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
'cause
put
I
it
don't-
in there.
I don't remember it.
I think I don't know if I have a clip of it or not, but I definitely have images. They're still saved on my phone. And if I have to, I can just reach out to Iowa Gamer Dad. He's the one that owns it, and just get him to maybe do some B-roll for me. All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Anything you would like to say about the NES?
I was just going to say that, so this set of questions was intended to be a little bit generic. So, like, whenever we do system podcasts, it'll
Right. It's going to
Probably
be the same
same.
set of questions.
So it'll be interesting to see, like, for the different systems, how, like, we all will have different thoughts and opinions, and it'll have a different role in history. It'll be interesting to discuss all that. So, yeah.
Just something to add
I
too.
actually have a question for you guys. Do you prefer the gray box or the top loader? Because I prefer the gray box. I think it looks way cooler.
Yeah, gray box all the way.
Gray box.
Yeah. I've never had the top loader.
Neither did I.
Yeah, me neither.
I prefer both. I mean, honestly, I thought the top loader was cool because it reminded me of the Super Nintendo.
Mark?
always
It's something
wanted
about
it.
pushing those. It's something about pushing that cartridge down, though. That spring clicking up and down, having to wiggle it side to side to get
And
the
it had the AV
gameplay.
cable.
Mark,
And it had the
We're
AV
talking
plugin.
about
what'd you
we're
say?
talking about the
The
if
console,
it's the
top loader,
top
or
loader's if the top loader is unmodded, then I would go with the toaster. But if it's AV modded, then I go with the top loader.
and dad level. What were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, so I was gonna about the Turtles thing. The actual cover for that TMNT game is actually from the issue number 4 of the Mirage comic. Just to throw that out there.
See, that's what happens when you have a comic guy in here. Anything else? Go ahead.
Oh, we're a Turtle fan, so
Yeah. I'm a turtle fan too, but more of the cartoon turtle fan than the comic. Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Next segment, 3D or no. Obviously, we're going to stick with the NES, so these are NES titles. LJN. Does anybody want to 3D sleeve an LJN game? Jaws. Bones.
Well, I was gonna say no, but I mean it's so iconic. We're talking about the NES stuff, so I'm gonna have to go with yeah.
That level.
I enjoy this game a lot. So yes, I would.
Dan.
I would not sleeve this game. I didn't like it, but I was surprised nobody said LJN for games to avoid, on the system. But yeah, no on the sleeve.
Dizzy.
I would actually throw the scuba tank in Jaws' mouth and have it exploding and 3D pop it. Yes.
J-Chip.
Maybe not this specific LGN game, but a Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th would look cool with a 3D pop.
MC Shark.
Yeah, I definitely 3D pop this one. This is a fun game.
Next title, Barbie. 3D or no? Bones.
Oh no, they had 3D in that.
Dad level.
No, not at all.
Dan.
I think this is on my list of 3D sleeves to make, isn't it, or something? Why don't you just to 3D pop this one, give it to Bones?
Dizzy.
This artwork looks kind of flat. I actually think there's a lot you could 3D pop out. So yeah.
J-Chip.
Oh, hell no.
MT Shark.
Nah, skip.
Everybody better say yes to the next one. This is the Bones edition of Barbie.
Oh.
If you notice, if you look in the bottom right corner, that's Bones' face right there on Barbie. Bones.
Plead the fifth.
You are 3D in it. Shut up. Dad level.
Yeah, I'll do it for my boy.
Dan.
Yeah, definitely.
Dizzy.
I say put Barbie right next to Bones in the ride, and yeah, 3D pop it.
Bones is Barbie.
You got to put Malibu Stacy next to him.
Ken.
Man.
He's next to Ken right now.
He's blocking Ken though. We got to see the next other person.
J-Chip.
I mean, I guess, why not?
MC Shark.
Yeah, of course.
The last one. Not many people probably know about this one. Larry and the Long Look for a Luscious Lover. Bones.
Yeah, I don't know of this one, but I'm gonna go with yeah.
Dad level.
Yeah, sure.
Dan.
Yeah, I've never heard of this, so I would 3D pop it just because it's unusual.
Dizzy.
I would actually put the old school pay-per-view scramble on top of this and 3D pop it.
J-Chef.
I mean, this is probably a PG podcast, so I can't tell you where I would want you to 3D pop it, but short answer, probably.
MC Shark.
Yeah, I would.
Just to let you know, there's nothing PG about this podcast. Bones said fucking like I don't know, past, I don't know how many times these couple podcasts, was kind of surprised me. He usually doesn't say it. He was just frustrated this whole these last two podcasts because his computer wasn't working properly.
That sleeve gave me a 3D pop.
Situation.
What'd you say, Dizzy?
I said that sleeve gave me a 3D pop.
Is this supposed to be part of the Leisure Suit Larry stuff? I'm guessing.
I really don't know. I have no clue, honestly.
Okay.
If there's a connection or not. Do you guys know if there's a connection? Dan, anybody? This is
I
never even heard of this game until I don't even know how it came about. I just looked up I don't even know how I searched this one. I forget.
Yeah, I'm looking right
Actually,
now.
you know what? I know.
Basically,
What was that, Mark?
it's basically the first Leisure Suit Larry game on Nintendo.
All right, so
okay.
The way
Now I need it.
this was actually in my folders for dust sleeves. I think I came across it one time and I was like, I wonder if anybody's gonna ever ask for this. So I saved it. But yeah. Yeah. So last segment, game of the month, Bones.
I'm gonna go with Mario 3 since we're on the NES.
Yeah, let's try to make it NES related. Dad level.
Contra.
Dan.
I'll go with the last game I got for the NES, which was Clash at Demon Head.
Dizzy.
I'm going with Mystery Quest NES. If you haven't played it, pop it into NES.
J-Chip.
I'm gonna go with Black Box Golf.
MT Shark.
I go with Dragon Spirit.
Speaking of Black Box Golf, I used to play a lot of that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
Yeah, it is. I want to thank you guys for tuning in on this podcast, and thank you guys for joining the podcast and doing it with it.
Anytime, man.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Like I said,
Fun time.
like I said before, keep an eye out for these because these are going to probably become a little bit more regular, at least until we get through a bulk of the consoles, and we probably will do almost every console and probably even handhelds. So there is a good amount of these coming out. Thanks, Dan, for coming up with the topic.
Hey, no problem.
And please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't blow, just leave. Later.
YouTube Mafia.
Thanks.
Peace out.
Hashtag YTM.
All right, go ahead. Bones.
Video game dust sleeves.
That level.
How's it going?
How's it going? Dan.
Yes, I'm here.
Dizzy.
Hello.
J-Chip.
Howdy.
MT Shark.
Hey, everyone.
I need to start calling you guys by your name because, like, if I don't call you by your YouTube channel, you know what I mean? I'd rather get your name out there more. So calling you by your YouTube channel might entice people to come see you. And I keep calling MT Shark Mark, and I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to break that habit. So that
I don't know. Every time you say his name, I want to go
MT Shark.
Every
MT Shark.
Every time I have to resist.
I was gonna do it at the end, but
Dude, I was going to do it like 5 to 6 times in the last podcast, and I refrained from doing it.
The refrain might stop here. It might happen. All right, let me check that.